but I'm not putting that one on.
Yeah. We are live and talking Westworld, episode 4, Dissonance Theory, Gold Derby, the awards experts. I'm here this week with just Amanda Spears, who has brought a hat to the Westworld party.
Not the right kind, but
yeah, more a what is that, like a beanie, a sort of beret sort of thing?
Kind of a beret. Yeah, it's more Bonnie and Clyde. More Bonnie and Clyde thing.
A beanie meets beret. Anyway, people don't care about our fashion as much as Westworld, episode 4. Amanda, what was just your first take on the episode? You were saying before we started recording that you were looking into the Golden Globes and how Tandy Newton might do there.
Yeah, I know everyone thinks that all the history has been made, but Thandie Newton might be in a really good position to make some history, because if she gets into that supporting race, she would be the first African-American woman to win. Now, one thing to keep in mind with that race is that in 1978, the year Roots would have competed, they actually didn't give away the supporting trophies for TV. So, which is odd because they gave it away the year before. But she would be the first African-American woman to win the Catch-All supporting race. And this is after Uzo Aduba and Regina King couldn't do it last year. I'm going to take this off. Oh. Doesn't really go with theme, but yeah, she would be the first. She would be the first to win.
Yeah, and I think also like the situation like that's quite interesting is that a couple of episodes ago she had just a showcase episode that was probably the best performance we've seen by any one actor in one episode of this show. Maybe on like Evan Rachel Wood had a very good pilot. So this episode 4, she continued on like with another great performance. And if her character grows and continues to be such an important character on the show, you could see Globe voters who are watching the show wanting to tick her off. Do you agree?
Oh, yeah. And I think having one solid episode is always important. But having those kind of scene-stealing moments as a supporting character that people will remember will keep her top of mind going forward, because we're still a long ways away before the Emmys, but it'll keep her in top of mind for the Globes.
Yeah. I think the like one hurdle to Thandie Newton is that in the Globes they mix mini, comedy and drama into the category for supporting actors. So there's just so many different directions they can go. It's probably the hardest awards to predict. So I've got her predicted at the moment. She's sitting on 11 to 1 odds at Gold Derby at the moment, I think. Let me just double check that. Make sure of 16 to 1 odds. Sorry to get nominated. Sitting in about that sort of 10th position, 11th position. So she's sort of fighting for it. But again, we've had people nominated here that have had much worse odds.
I think you could almost just pick names out of a hat in that category and probably almost stand a good chance, because right now I think we have the young girl from Stranger Things, Millie, in first, and I certainly think she would be great. But we've seen people that we thought were going to be nominated not even nominated. And
my money's on, and this is probably a discussion for another web show, my money is on Miley Cyrus for the Woody Allen series winning this category.
That actually is something I'm considering putting in mind, because when you think about, not to go off on a tangent, but since we are discussing this category, the amount of nominations that Woody Allen movies have gotten for women, it is very much in the realm of a possibility. And yes, some critics did give her some hits, but you could definitely see the Globes kind of, I think you might be onto something. I'm gonna have to consider that myself.
No one gave Lady Gaga a hit last year and she won the category. So I don't like, if Miley Cyrus has some good reviews, that could be enough.
I didn't think she was horrible in it.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about this episode. And Amanda, what was the storyline that most grabbed you this episode of Westworld?
Well, other than just Thandie Newton, I was interested to see what Ed Harris knows, how much he knows about, he knows about Arthur. That still doesn't mean he isn't Arthur. He has some kind of foundation that's done some kind of large amount of good for people to want to come up to him during his vacation and, kind of bother him.
Yeah.
And then with previews for next week, he's going to be with Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. Did you, what was I going to say? You're not getting an echo of yourself, are you?
No.
Okay, good, because I just realized my earphones are unplugged. So, I don't know why I got this in then. We've got, what are we going to do? Yeah. So I was pretty interested in let's talk about the Anthony Hopkins sort of stuff. That's pretty interesting. He's sort of going through his maze. He found, they were looking for a rattlesnake. It was a woman with a snake tattoo that I thought was pretty cool, going from sort of her face all the way down her back and around her body. And it's lucky they bumped into her when she was having a bath, when she was bathing in the river, because it may have been harder to notice that snake tattoo on her if she had like all her clothes on. So they're very lucky. So that was pretty good. And yeah, they sort of ganged up, they teamed up, and they sort of, to get information. Like, where do you see that storyline going, Amanda? And what did you like about it?
I like that he is definitely up to something, but it's not what we're thinking. Clearly for Ed Harris, something is going on. And I feel like he's one of the more interesting ones to look out for. Whereas I thought that Anthony Hopkins was great. We had a really good long scene of him, and it was evil, and it was everything you want to see him kind of like playing psychological warfare on this woman.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that those were probably even the robots or hosts that woman saw that were probably like brought out of the basement.
Yeah.
Kind of scare her to death.
Yeah. I think like what's pretty interesting is like we also saw in the Dolores storyline, what's his name? Jeffrey Wright's character. What's his name? Bernard, has given her the maze to try and do.
Yeah. So what is his maze?
So we've now got her starting to try to do the maze, I guess. Like I'm still finding this show a bit hard to get, and maybe intentionally by their part, timing. And the time outside of the Westworld and the story inside the Westworld, how that's lining up. Like at what point she was given this maze as something to try to do.
Well, I think it's hard when they never change clothes. I mean, she's been in that blue dress now for 4 episodes, so it's not like we can go, oh, that was episode 2 or something, because she's always in the same kind of clothes. So
it's like Survivor, except the clothes don't get more dirty and they're not growing beards and things like that. Like they're just in the same clothes every episode. So I think so yeah, that's the thing I'm like sort of like intrigued and really excited about, to see her try to do this maze and see how she does it differently to how Ed Harris is going about trying to solve the maze. And at what point do their two paths cross?
And I think the people she's with are the people from the board that Anthony Hopkins was talking about, saying they're already here. So I'm thinking the 2 people she's with, that she split off with, might be the ones that are the part that have already been sent.
Are you talking about Prince Caspian and the Nick Boyle from It's Always Sunny? Those guys?
Yes.
I feel like there's too many conversations of them alone without anyone else there going, like, talking about, I don't know, how one of them's bad. Like, I don't know that.
We talked about business, and this is about our family business, and that's what we're here for. So maybe they're the ones that the board sent.
Yeah, and they can both, I guess, have different approaches. Like they obviously, okay. That'll be interesting to see what their plan is. When, like, this is the one thing I'm finding hard. When are people ever asked to leave Westworld? Because it seems like like the first episode, like it seemed like it was one day and then everything reset, and now it just seems like they're going on like a month-long adventure. where there seems to be no end in sight for Ed Harris or Prince Caspian or any of these guys. And it's not like I got the sense of the first episode that Dolores lives the same day again and again and again and again. But now it seems like she's had like 3 or 4 days of like an adventure. Maybe it's just 2 or 3, but they've definitely had nights. Like,
well, I think they're reset when something happens to them. So, for example, I think like the prostitutes are reset probably daily.
okay.
The villains might be reset daily, but when you're off on those, if you sign up for like one of those, I'm going to go try and find a bad guy, then it could take 3 or 4 days to get there. So obviously they probably don't want to reset those people.
Mhm.
So I think either you have to die or something has to happen kind of to like reset the story.
So like when you die, you're reset for the next day.
Yeah, but if you like if you're like a host and you take like people whitewater rafting, because they mentioned that in one of the episodes, then you're probably not reset until you're done with like that storyline.
That sort of makes sense. So I feel like it's going to be like regardless of whether it's part of the board or not part of the board, Mick Boyle is going to go with Dolores to try to solve this maze. And we're going to have the interesting thing of like, sort of, because I think like her being with him means like she's more likely to be able to solve the maze, because sort of like if a guest wants something, they get something. Whereas if a robot just goes on some random mission on their own, it's a bit like the people with their iPads just go, nah, okay, you're coming back. You're coming back, Dolores, where we're going to look into you.
I think that guest is also very protective and he doesn't want to see her die. So that's definitely going to play to her advantage, that he's willing to put himself kind of in front of it.
Yeah, and he's going to, like, she's going to convince him to go on the maze with her probably. And like, you know, like that should be fun. And I love mazes. I love this sort of the way, like it's given a sense of like purpose to the Westworld world, which I really like. So there's actually a place that they're going. Like, you know, that it's not just, it's a pointless existence because you just die and wake up again and live out the same day in a different way. It's sort of like, okay, there's a mission now. There's a game. There's maybe some stakes to what's happening. Maybe if she finds the middle of the maze, she can get freedom. Maybe Barnaby's lying to her about that and she never will. But let's see what happens and let's see if she can win this game within this world. I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's heating up.
Yeah.
And I think that ending with Thandie Newton on that safe and just cutting herself open because she's remembered all this stuff was such a clever ending to this.
Yeah, like let's talk about this, like the spacemen, like sort of like, or the mechanics and things like that. And she's drawing this picture, she's putting it on, and she goes to put it on, and then she realizes there's already drawings, like, so she's done this a couple of times. Then she sees who had the action figure of the Westworld guy.
I think it's one of the Native Americans.
Yeah, why are they given action figures of the guys who run the park?
I think clearly, well, why are they in those kind of hazmat suits?
Yeah.
Like, why are they walking around like they're like afraid they're going to get a virus in this?
It reminds me of the guys from Monsters, Inc.
Yeah.
Like when they get like a sock on them, these guys that run out and shave all the things and stuff, because we can see humans can live there. Humans go on holidays there. Anthony Hopkins always visits. We see, you know, last week the two were going around. So yeah, I didn't get the hazmat suits either.
It might be just a way to control them, like a religious item kind of a thing, just to explain it. Like how they said that they have dreams, but they mostly have nightmares just in case they remember things. So they think it's part of their conscious.
Yeah, it probably means if we walk around like this and they just think we're gods or whatever, then it just means they don't like have to explain that, you know, like it just like makes things a bit easier. That makes sense. It's convenient. It's like, hey, we're gonna have to go up in these hazmat suits and, you know, fix the pipes. If the natives just think that that's what the gods look like, then we don't even need to bother explaining anything. Just give them an action figure or two. That can be their thing. It was so weird that the cowboys won't know what really the deal is. Sort of think it's a weird thing they carry around with them. Yeah. I like it. It's good. Anything? What is it? What about the stuff with Anthony Hopkins and his sort of like? It seems like the lady there thinks that like he's not doing the right thing. It seems like his plan's a lot bigger than what we are aware of in this new direction he's taking it.
Yeah, I don't get this direction either. And every week he's just getting a little bit more to do. And they're just kind of dialing up the evil. And so I'm waiting because I know it's coming. We're gonna get the Anthony Hopkins episode.
Yeah, I feel like Anthony Hopkins is probably evil, right? Or like, well, maybe not evil. I don't think there's necessarily going to be a black and white thing, but that he's not the guy we're going to be going for, and like he's got the best vision of the park.
Yeah, but I always love when the villain dies and you kind of wish he was still around. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for Anthony Hopkins, is that if he does die, they give us he's just so good, so evil that you want him to stick around one more season, kind of a thing.
I feel like the thing that, like, I actually found Anthony Hopkins quite endearing and thought he might be one of the good guys when we had that British writer on the show with his like root, and he's like, I thought, oh, he's the guy who, like, Anthony Hopkins really understands the heart of this place and like has a sense of purpose for it, and he's not one of these guys that's just out for cheap thrills and stuff. But it seems like maybe Anthony Hopkins' big plan is also like maybe a less cynical one, but an even more sinister one.
Yeah, I don't think he has good intentions, and whatever happened with Arnold, whether he's alive or dead, I'm still voting with alive, because I think they would have shown us a picture if he was alive, or dead, excuse me, or shown us his death. He had something to do with it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Are we going to see the guy again? Like my least favorite character from the show, the writer, who's just overly excited and like emotional about everything.
Well, I didn't hate him. I mean, I think we write, not professionally, but we write articles, and sometimes we think we have something clever in there, and then, it gets cut. I don't know if I don't think we're going to see him again.
Yeah, I feel like they sort of dropped him. And I found him amusing and unintentionally amusing on the show. Well, he's probably somewhat intentionally amusing, but I found like just the way he talked about it. There's a big plan, but I don't know it. And this is I would
love to hear this crazy big speech, and then he's like, oh, yeah. Darn guest shot him in the head too soon.
Yeah. Like foiled again. Like, yeah. I hope we see him again, because
my brilliant words are never going to be heard.
Yeah. Oh, those guests of Westworld deprived of my brilliance yet again. Like, yeah, I love that guy. So that's good. We touched on Anthony Hopkins. We touched on the sort of camping adventure of Dolores and her new friends. What about the Prince Caspian guy is great in sort of like, guys, let's go like dudes, mate, let's go. Yeah, let's just like, I'll kill people, you sleep with her, like let's just do what we want, man. Like, I've done it your way for a day or two. It's time to go dark. Yeah.
He should be careful.
What a jerk. Like, yeah. I feel like it'll be fun to see him die. Thing. I don't think that is what's going to happen, but it would be fun to see him die. What? Anyone else? Like, we've touched on most of the storylines, I feel.
Yeah, James Marsden didn't really have anything to do this week.
I like the line, though. I liked when he's like, please be kind and take me out of my misery. And Ed Harris is like, oh, the torment or whatever. And Ed Harris is like, there's no escaping your torment. Like,
yeah.
Like, you're really, he is always the character, James Marsden, with an unhappy ending.
Well, he should be used to that from his movie career, so.
Yeah.
I've seen enough romantic comedies to know he never gets the girl.
Yeah, he's great, James Marsden, in that he's been given this like eternal like guilt that he doesn't even know exactly where it stems from. So he's constantly living with a chip on his shoulder and this horrible sort of like perceived baggage that isn't actual baggage, and then every day ends horribly for him with some horrible shooting or murder or anything. No one has he's the Wile E. Coyote of Westworld, just constantly being foiled. Having not quite Wile E. Coyote. I guess it's not by his own device by which he's undone, but I still think this hopeless existence, this cycle of hopelessness, and it'll be interesting to see where like what his role is in the show moving forward, because I would have been expecting more time with him and Dolores from the pilot, and it seems like they've taken Dolores' storyline in a different direction to his. So yeah, I'm interested to see where. I'm sure he'll meet up with Dolores again at some point, but maybe not till the end of the season or early next season. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll get back to each other at some point, but
yeah,
they're two individuals who can't really ever be together the way they want to because they're not in control of their destiny. So it's tough.
They're probably two individuals who have been programmed or decided, like the way they're being programmed, they're perfect for each other. Like, they're just the way like they as robots interact, like their personality types and stuff. And that's all been by design to a degree. Not designed for them to get together, but just their makeup. It's completely like being controlled that they are like that in a sense that they like each other. But it's also completely in control that they will never get together.
Yeah, I think they're probably designed to be attracted to each other, but they're not going to be together.
How cruel. Nothing worse than when you are attracted to someone and can't be with them. What a horrible, and what a horrible concoction of the Westworld creators to put people in that position. Yeah. What that's like, I feel like that's sort of it. Dissonance Theory. I thought a good episode. You was telling me, Amanda, you thought it was the best episode of the season.
Kind of moved things along. It turned the volume up on the drama. At least it made me care about what was going on. Like what's Sandy Newton going to do next? What's Ed Harris going to do next? Because he's clearly up to something.
Yeah.
And we got a lot more looks at it because now we know he knows a lot more than he's just some guy who comes here 1 week a month, 1 week a year for 40 years would know.
Yeah. I think, Sandy Newton, well, what does she do with that bullet? I think she should put it in with all those drawings that she does. Because I think, like, obviously the creators don't know about that.
And the woman who has kind of figured out something is wrong, like seriously wrong, everyone's just brushing aside.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like you might want to listen to her before you have like an anarchy on your hands.
Yeah. Anyway, it's great talking Westworld with you again, Amanda. Next week, hopefully we'll chat about it again. Maybe get some other people involved in the chat and stuff. Thanks for watching. You can continue talking about Westworld at our Gold Derby forums at goldderby.com and read the articles and stuff we have about Westworld there too. And just follow Golden Globes, Emmy races. The Oscars are coming up. In like March or late February, but it seems like but once you hit October, November, I sort of feel like, okay, we'll start, the movies are starting to come out and stuff like that. Anyway.
Yeah, make your Globe predictions. So your Globe and SAG predictions for the TV side now.
Yes, they are fast approaching. Oh, well, thank you for watching, and thanks for chatting, Amanda.